and watch me do it again. Tell 'em I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no.
But speaking of Trump, though, Trump and Elon Musk, right? All week long, they have been going back and forth. Now, we know Trump has this big, beautiful bill, his spending cut bill. They're supposed to be the largest tax. They're supposed to bring back tax cuts and do all these things and, you know, spark the economy. And he's talking about, you know, the cost of gasoline going down. But it cuts the EV mandates, right? And that kind of pissed Elon Musk off because obviously the reason why Elon Musk is able to make so much money in the United States is because the vast majority of his company is subsidized by our government. So we basically are paying Elon for Tesla, his EV vehicles with Tesla and SpaceX. We're paying for these things. We're paying for these things as taxpayers. So Elon is pissed off that these tax cuts are being cut. But he's also mad that Trump didn't appoint the person that he wanted to be appointed into office at NASA. I guess Elon thought because he was a billionaire, he was going to be the new age Rockefeller, right? He was going to be, hey, you know, I got the money. We're just going to buy we're going to buy the presidency and we're going to have these people do what I want them to do because I got money. Problem is, Elon didn't realize he's still a foreigner. And ain't no American gonna be taking they may take your money, but they're not gonna sit up there and be listening to you like that. They may help you out. You know, we also know that Elon is no longer in his Doge, you know, seat because it was only a special appointment, and by law, you only could be specially appointed to like a committee for a certain amount of time. So the duration of his stay in D.C. is over with. So he's been lashing out on social media, saying this bill is gonna, add to the deficit. It's stupid. The EV mandates don't make any sense. And Tesla been taking a lot of heat. Elon took a lot, he was very popular amongst people until, he went working for Doge, and then he pissed a lot of people off. They started buying Teslas, and next thing you know, they burning them up and blowing them up all over the place. Well, his little tirade online, I guess he thought he was going to threaten Trump and say all these things. And then Trump went on Truth Social and said, maybe it's time for us to cut all of the funding to Elon's projects. And Elon's business lost $150 billion in value in one day. Boom. May not seem like a lot. It seems like a lot to us, right? 150 billion. His company was worth like 1.1 trillion, but he lose that value. Stocks are always tumbling. Tesla stock is already dropping. So now you got this going on, and now the president is saying, hey, we might just cut all the funding to your projects altogether. That would wreck his companies and almost put them out of business. So that was like a G-check move by Trump. So Elon decided that he was going to go out there and said, just throw something out there hypothetical and say, hey, you all know why the Epstein files haven't been released yet? Because Trump is in them. He's in them. And everybody was like, whoa, what are you talking about? For real? Oh, shoot. Okay. It is completely messed up, right? Even if, I don't know if he was doing that because he's mad. He may be sarcastic. Maybe he's blowing up, spazzing out. We've heard rumors about Elon, there's allegedly that, he likes to, be a little high when he has a little addiction problem. So Trump was asked about this in the Oval. So I just want to play a little bit about what Trump said about Elon Musk. Let's take a listen.
But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, he became a little bit different, and I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape. He said the most beautiful things about me, and he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
So I'm very disappointed in Elon. Yeah, and that's what sparked Elon to come out with the next things, his little rant, and then he came out with the Epstein thing. So it's trouble in paradise, but it's also a cautionary tale. Like this makes it seem like Trump can't be bought. He gonna do what he want to do. He doesn't care about the friendships, relationships. This is business. And if it's true that Elon Musk knew all about this ahead of time, and all of a sudden because he's no longer in there, he wants to pout, then you looking real shady, dude. And trust Elon really anyway. But Trump said, "Hey, you know about these cuts, man. You know about these cuts from the get-go. This big beautiful bill. A lot of people don't like it. According to Trump, the CBO gave it a good score. So I guess we're going to see what happens with it. There's some revisions to Medicaid, Medicare in there. There's some work provisions that have to be made now. So people are pissed off about that. But we'll see how this bill goes, because right now it's still getting fleshed out. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she came out with a statement saying that she hadn't read anything in the bill. I mentioned that last week. She hadn't read anything in that bill. And then when she read it, she would have never voted yes on it. But now, it's got to get fleshed out. So, but Elon and Trump, this is an interesting dynamic here. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how much more Elon spazzes out, and see what happens when this bill finally gets signed. Because it's gonna be very, very interesting. I'm curious to see how Elon gonna act. Is he just gonna spaz out? A lot of people think Elon had access to all this information. I don't know how much Elon had. I don't know what kind of clearance he was able to get. There's a lot of things that are said that he had people's personal information. I don't know if he had all that. I think his one thing we know about Congress is that even though you may have access to certain things, people are reluctant to give you access to everything. Like even the what did you do this week letter that they were supposed to have been sending. That started for a couple of weeks, but then government employees had to write out every Friday what they were doing. That started for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it went away. So this is something that is close to me because I'm up here in Ohio, and I know people from East Palestine. And when this incident happened in that area, and if you ever been to East Palestine, it's a small little rural town. We got a lot of those up here in Ohio. We got the small little rural towns that people just want to making it. Not really. It's blue collar. You know what I'm saying? People just go to work. Not a lot of wealth there, because it's like a little small rural town. But they had a train derailment on Biden's watch. And the EPA director went to the area, and people were complaining about the chemicals that were on that train that spilled. You could smell that stuff all the way down here in Columbus. It was just in the air, just smelled horrible. So I know that if we smelled it way down here, then what was the smell in East Palestine? And these people were asking. The EPA director came out and did his best Obama, well, not the EPA director, but one of the guys in the EPA came out and took a glass of water like Obama did in Flint. Took it, tasted, yeah, It's clean. Well, now people are starting to develop conditions, medical conditions, and they have determined that this area might have been a cancer cluster. So I want y'all to take a listen to this because this might have been one of the nastiest cover-ups of the modern era.
We have some new developments to a story that we have covered from the very beginning. The health of those who live in East Palestine, Ohio, following the toxic train derailment disaster. News Nation now learning the White House, FEMA, and other agencies worked together to reportedly cover up the possibility of serious health issues, like the potential for a cancer cluster breakout among people who live there.
FEMA, EPA, NTSB, Biden administration, cover up cancer clusters.
Rich McHugh has stayed on top of this story from the beginning. He joins us live now with the latest. Rich, we understand the Department of Homeland Security now responding to your reporting.
Hey, Brooke. Yeah, that's right. So our story clearly struck a nerve. Our story from Friday about the devastation and the potential cover-up in East Palestine. So initially, when they burned these 5 tankers full of 116,000 gallons of vinyl chloride, people complained they were sick. They were sick for months. 7 months later, President Biden sent a FEMA representative there under an executive order to assess the unmet needs of the community. Now, new documents from FEMA obtained through the Freedom of Information Act show extensive coordination between FEMA, the White House, National Security Council, EPA, Department of Justice, voicing serious concerns about health toxins, the unmet needs of East Palestine following the train derailment. But publicly, their message was nothing to see here. Now, Leslie Pacey, she's an investigator with the Government Accountability Project. She sued to get these documents because they would not turn them over in a traditional FOIA. Here she is.
So you see what's going on. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. But behind closed doors, they were like, oh, this looks bad. Hey, we're just gonna tell the people, ain't nothing to see here. These are your citizens. And if there were toxins in the air and toxins in the ground and the soil where these people living at, and y'all covered this up, these people should sue the federal government.
It showed that FEMA knew healthcare was the number one issue. It was only discussed internally. And it actually was discussed all the way up to the White House. There was White House officials and National Security Council officials discussing the dangers of the cancer cluster potential and the health issues, and discussing whether or not to release the unmet needs report to the public and to the media.
Now the Trump administration is slamming the Biden White House response. A Department of Homeland Security spokesman says in a statement, emails of FEMA ignoring a potential cancer cluster breakout in East Palestine, Ohio, under the Biden administration is yet another outrageous example of the gross mismanagement and poor treatment of Americans under the prior administration. Now, we reached out to Ohio officials. Senator Bernie Moreno gave us this statement. He said the Biden administration abandoned East Palestine because it was the exact voters they hate, white working class Americans. We reached out to Senator Husted, Attorney General Yost, and Governor DeWine, and are awaiting response from all 3 of them.
Now, Bernie Moreno, I'm not even going there. That's just stupid. There's no there. He's trying to bring race into it. No. They've been ignoring cancer clusters in black communities for decades, dude. Trust me. All you got to do is go down to the outskirts of New Orleans, go down to Augusta, Georgia, go down to Denmark, South Carolina, Lowndes County, Alabama, you name it, Flint, Michigan. Come on, dude. There's cancer clusters all over the country. So this isn't just about white people. This is what the government does. The people are complaining and they don't give a damn. They don't care. Hopefully, they do not care about citizens. Okay, this is not the game that they care about. If they cared about citizens, then we wouldn't be having, all these problems with, healthcare not being, universal healthcare not being there, government programs and services, education not being, equal. If they really cared, they would fix the problems, but they don't care. They don't care. They don't care at all. They do these things because it's all about control. Biden looked those people in the face, and behind closed doors, they knew good and well that this stuff was bad. And yet and still, to the public, they made it seem like it was nothing there. Now, his administration has, investigated this. Now, what's the end result? How do you fix a cancer cluster? Are you going to compensate these people? Can they sue? Like, what is the end result besides just calling out the Biden administration and saying, pointing fingers? See, they didn't care about you. Look what they did to you. Okay, so what are you going to do now that you know that now that we know that it was potentially a cover up? Is there going to be criminal aspect to this? What about compensation? What about compensation? Some people gonna go to jail for this. Some co-conspirators, because we know Biden pardoned his whole entire family and for anything that happened, so he can't be prosecuted. So somebody should take the fall for this, right? These are American citizens whose lives were left for squalor, really. They don't care about us, man. My heart goes out to the people in East Palestine. I hopefully, you all get some representation. Look at a class action lawsuit, because if these findings in this report that News Nation has uncovered is absolutely true, and this is a whistleblower report, then you all should be suing the federal government. And that's my time for the night. I just want to thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back live and with a new show on Thursday night, new episode on Thursday night. Until next time, Culture Nation. Until next time, keep it culture.